garage. In today's episode, we're going to be taking this RZR 170 and bringing it back to life. So I picked this thing up. It's not running, doesn't start, doesn't do anything. So we're going to go through the process of getting it back going, cleaning out the carburetor, you know, lubricating, just going through it and trying to get this thing to get going again. So stick around, and let's go through this thing. All right, so let's start getting everything out of our way. First thing you're gonna wanna do is get your seats out. So there's the driver's seat and the passenger seat. Which passenger seat has two nuts. I'll show you all. Like 12mm nuts that you gotta take off the bottom here to get the passenger seat out. And get our service cover off, which is right here. And that's just held in. This one's already off because it was missing from the prior owners. But there's just a couple, you got 4 bolts here on the top. You got a push pin, 2 bolts here, and another bolt here. And then you can take this panel off and access right here. Next, let's get this cover off. There'll be 2 screws here. Remove this cover. All right. And now let's go around to the back and get the back section off. Okay, so here we are at the back. This piece, when I picked this machine up, was missing, so this is a new piece, so it's not fully on. But basically, you're gonna have 4 screws here in the middle, and you're gonna have on each corner here and here, a little pop pin, and then the rear fascia comes off. And now we can get the upper cover off, which again, there's a bunch of bolts and stuff missing, but you're gonna have 4 screws here in the middle. You're gonna have these little pop pins here. Pop that one out. And this tool is awesome. This thing gets right in here and pops them off. Whoop, there it goes. You're gonna have 2 more pop pins here. Remove these 2 on the driver's side, and again repeat for the passenger side. You'll have 2 more pop pins here. Now you're going to want to come underneath the fender, and you're going to have 2 screws here. You're going to have a screw here and a screw here, and that attaches this piece to the black piece. And repeat the process for the driver's side. You're going to have a screw here and a screw here, and that loosens the red piece from the black piece. So now that we've got all our screws off, this, and just kind of pull backwards and pop it off. And now we've gained full access to work on our RZR 170. So let's get into this carburetor. Okay, so here we are. We've got plenty of room to work on the carburetor. So it's pretty easy to get it out. First thing you want to do is get the choke cable off. So loosen this screw here. Okay, that's going to loosen the bracket for the cable. You can slip it out. Slip the cable out of the bracket. Come down here and pop it out. And of course, it's easier said than done. Come on. It's hard to do holding the camera, but hang on. Okay, it's out. All right, so we got that off. This hose we can just leave on. This is just a vent, okay? Or we can pop it off. It's just your vent hose. Back here, undo your clamp, which somebody's already taken the intake portion off, but you're gonna undo the clamp here and remove your intake hose. Then up here, you got your other clamp. So let's get this guy off. Loosen this guy up. This, you're gonna have a hose on the bottom here. Just pop that off. That's your overflow hose. It's on the bottom of the carb. And then your fuel hose is this guy right here. So pop the fuel hose off. Okay. Now we're gonna come up to the top and unscrew our throttle. Pull our throttle out and set that to the side for right now. And that should be it. Now you just grab it. Pull your carburetor off. Voila. Perfect. Looks good. Okay, so next, let's get these two nuts off to get our little intake boot off of the carb. Okay, so here we are. So using a 10 millimeter, we're gonna break these nuts free, and this will take our intake off, or the intake boot. Just like that. Set this aside. This is my little carburetor stand. Love this thing. It's great for taking these all apart. Whoa, got some gas in it. Let's get that poured out. Okay, now that we got most of the gas out of it, we can remove the float bowl. And our last one. Okay. Well, it's pretty clean, doesn't it? It's got some gunk in the bottom here. Yeah, it's got some gunk in there. Y'all can see that, but it's not horrible. All right. And there you go. That's what we got on the inside of this carburetor. So we can pretty much just start taking it apart. This is our little fuel splash diverter. All right, you got your pilot jet. Got your, or your main jet, I'm sorry, main jet, pilot jet. So we'll get those out, we'll just unscrew it. There's your pilot jet. And unscrew our main jet. We're just gonna take the whole tube out with it, but that's okay. All right. So this is the main jet right here. And then this is the orifice tube. It has all these little holes in it, and or emulsion tubes, some people call them. Some people call them orifice tubes, but this is basically what atomizes the air in the fuel before it goes into the carburetor. So we're gonna set that aside. And now we got our float valve here. So we got a pin in here. And you're just gonna push the pin and get a pick. All right. Now to get the float valve off, you're gonna pick, you're just gonna push your pin through, pull it off, set that aside. You can pull your float off, and then you can pull your float valve out. Okay. All right, so we got all that off. And get our rubber O-rings here off. Okay. We'll pull this little cover off. And this is for other applications Kian uses on different bikes. You put different stuff in here and get that O-ring out. And that is pretty much it. That's all you need to take your carburetor apart. Let's get this sprayed off, and we'll get it into the Berryman. Carburetor's all put back together, looking good. So we should be pretty good to get this thing started back up again. Okay, so to service the transmission, now of course, like I said, I've got everything torn apart back here. This is your fill and check plug right here, okay? So you can see, you're basically gonna take this guy out. Oh, it's really in there, all right. And there we go. And looks like somebody's put gear oil in this. So we're gonna get that changed out, but that's how you check it. It should just pretty much just drip out of there like that. So, all right, so now the drain is down here. All right, so let's get under there and I'll show you how to drain it. All righty. Okay, so we're gonna come underneath the machine. Now I'm on the right side of the machine. There's a valve cover. You're gonna come underneath. That's your drain plug for the engine. We don't want to do that one yet. There it is right there. That's 17 millimeter. Okay, that's the drain for the transmission. So, grabbing your weapon of choice, we are going to put a 17 on it and break it free. All right, there it goes. There it goes, and here comes all the fluid. All right, so we're gonna let this drain out, and we're gonna put the drain plug back in, and we'll fill it up. Okay, so we've drained out the transmission, and we've put the drain plug back in. We've got our fill check plug, our fill check plug out. Now we're gonna use our AGL with our fluid pump, and let's see here. Find a good spot to put this. There we go. I'm gonna stick this in and start pumping. And just fill it up until it starts to come out. It's 24 ounces. And that's pretty much it. That's how you change your transmission fluid in your RZR. Change the oil. You can get to the drain plug from the side of the machine or from the back. And pretty much it's, hang on, this guy right here, this 17 millimeter. That's the drain for the engine. So get your tool of choice, and let's see here. Hang on, everyone. There we go. All right. Now it's gonna have a spring in here and a little thimble. So, oh wait. Hang on, drain pan. There we go. All right, now we got the drain pan under. Okay. All right, now we can take the rest. All right, now we can take, there it goes. Here comes all our oil. Okay, so that's essentially the filter. Oh boy. All right, well, while this is draining, let's get this cleaned off. Okay. So there's our drain plug. We got it all cleaned out. Sometimes there's a lot of gunk down there in the bottom, but just spray it off with some parts cleaner. And then there's our filter. Just this little screen guy. So just spray it out with parts cleaner. And then it basically just goes back in like that. Now you just push this in and turn it and tighten it up. So we're gonna get that back in there. Okay, now that we've got it all drained out, of course, your fill check is right here. So, because I got the whole back here off, I can use this big funnel. So let's stick our funnel in. Bam. Now, if your back's not off, I mean, you can go through here with a smaller funnel. And using your PS4 550, it's going to take 1 full quart and a couple ounces out of another quart. So once you get it filled up, then we're just going to basically check our oil level. And stick our dipstick back in. Now on this engine, you have to screw this all the way in and then all the way out to check your oil level. And there we go. We're full. All right. Oil change is done. Pretty easy on this guy. Okay, so next is going to be the air filter. Now, again, if you didn't disassemble your back here, you're going to have a little access panel here with 4 screws. Take that access panel off and then you can reach down and get to your air box. Pretty self-explanatory. Pop your 4 clips. Pull your cover off. Ugh. Loosen your clamp and remove your old filter. Yuck. All right. I guess we know where this goes. In the garbage. Okay, next you're going to want to clean out your box of any dirt and debris. Swap over your clamp, new filter. Neighbors are chainsawing today. Put your filter in, tighten it up, and then put your cover back on. Air filter done, easy peasy. All right, so now we're going to clean out the cooling box for the engine. This is the inlet to cool the engine. This fills up with grass and dirt and debris a lot, so it should be cleaned very often. I almost say every time, at least take these screws off and clean it out. We're going to take it off here and I'll show you. There are kits that you can buy that relocate this, so you're not picking up so much dirt and grass and debris, but it's pretty easy. Just there's 3 screws. There's 1, 2, and the 3rd one's down here on the bottom. There we go. Now, a lot of times this is, camera, focus. There we go, sorry. Okay, so there we go. So a lot of times this gets all full of grass and dirt and debris, and keeps it from not cooling the engine, and engine overheats, and then the engine's no good. So take this off very, very often and clean it out. And like I said, there's these 3 screws here, so you can just take this little cover off here and you can reach in and grab any grass or clean any dirt out. But almost every ride, check these things. Unless you got the relocation kit, check them. Now this one's not bad. It's got a little bit of dirt and dust, is fine. But I've seen these things where this is packed full of grass. I mean, just like pretend that's grass, just packed full. And this completely covered up, and there's no cooling to the engine. So check this often. This is key. And I will highly recommend, if you have one of these razors, just get rid of this and do the aftermarket relocation kit. There's 2 styles. One's like a cone filter that goes here, which is all right, but they get wet. The other one, it reroutes it up high. But all right, and then you just put it back on, screw it down, and you're good to go. Let's get our chain all lubed up here. Now, this should really be done every ride, or before every ride. Polaris chain lube or any chain lube will work. For O-rings, make sure it's for O-rings because it's an O-ring chain. And basically all I do is just, you know, put it on a jack, get the tires off the ground real quick, and I start right here. And it gets messy, but all right, and then just keep working it around. Little spurts. There we go, look at that. It's freeing right up. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, chain's done. All right, let's get this thing greased up. Okay, so here we are at the front of the machine, and this is the only spot where there's grease fittings. So your control arms have a grease fitting on all their inboard joints, so it's right there. Okay, so there's a hole right here. You go through here with your grease gun, grease that joint, and then you come back here. Hang on, all right. And there's another one here, and there's the hole. And then see, there's the hole for the other control arm. So you got 2 here and 2 here, okay? And then your spindles right there. You got a grease fitting right there. So you got a total of 6. 3 on each side. 2 on the inner and the 1 out here. And there you go. That's how you grease your front end. That's all the grease fittings on a RZR 170. All right, so now we've got it all, everything's all set. We've got the transmission service, we got the chain all taken care of, the carburetor's taken care of, battery's charged up, so let's see how this thing does. So, perfect. Runs like a top. So we're going to take this thing out for a little cruise and see how it's doing. I hope everybody enjoyed this episode. Don't forget, check me out on Facebook at Polaris Nuts Garage. Give me that thumbs up, share, do what you got to do. And I'll catch you right here next time on Polaris Nuts Garage.